Picture a young lad from New York's Lower East Side getting into the ring at 15 under a fake name. He then goes on to become one of the greatest boxers of all time, only to lose everything and die in the same ring where he made his reputation. This is the story of Benny Leonard that no one has ever told. Fame, prosperity, and tragedy. Benny Leonard, whose real name was Benjamin Leonard, was born on April 7, 1896, to a Jewish immigrant family in New York City's rough Lower East Side. Leonard won the world lightweight title in 1917 and kept it for over 8 years, which is a record in his division. But that's not the end of his story. Behind the gloves were a strong boxing IQ, huge fame, financial highs and lows, and a horrible finish in the ring itself. Let's divide his life into 10 important parts. From the streets to the ring. Benny Leonard's story starts on the tough streets of New York's Lower East Side. He was born into a Jewish immigrant family and lived through the terrible times of the early 1900s, when young lads often got into fights on the street. Leonard learned how to defend himself as a child, even though his parents never liked boxing. At 15, he started boxing under the name Benny Leonard, so his family wouldn't find out about his hobby. Even though he was trying to keep it a secret, trainers and promoters quickly saw Benny's innate talent and put him in the ring. What made him stand out from other fighters was his style, which mixed a strong defensive posture with smart counterpunching. He was already a professional boxer at 19, which set him up for future fame in the sport. Learning the trade. Benny Leonard became famous not simply because of his physical strength, but because of his incredible boxing IQ, which is why he was called the Ghetto Wizard. Leonard worked with manager Billy Gibson and trainer George Engel to improve his skills, focusing on more than just getting stronger. He learned the science of boxing, including how to fake out his opponent, avoid punches, and use his feet to his advantage. He was the best at defense and was famed for being able to read his opponent's actions before they ever made them. Leonard's early training was all about improving his endurance, accuracy, and speed, which helped him beat many of his opponents. He could withstand punches with little harm while getting ready to counter, and this ability to stay in control in the ring made him one of the best strategists in the sport. He was able to keep ahead of the competition because he worked hard and was dedicated to studying the finer points of boxing. Winning the World Lightweight Championship in 1917. On May 28, 1917, Benny Leonard had his big break when he fought Freddie Welsh, the reigning lightweight champion, at the Polo Grounds in New York. Leonard beat Welsh in the 9th round to win the World Lightweight title. He was only 21 years old at the time. His win was not simply a victory for Leonard, but also an important occasion in boxing history. Leonard's victory here started an era in which he ruled the lightweight class for over 8 years, defending his championship many times. His win over Welsh showed that he was smart in the ring, could change his strategy in the middle of a fight, and could go the distance. He wasn't only a strong puncher, he was a well-rounded fighter who could outsmart and outmaneuver his opponents. Leonard was able to keep his cool under pressure, which helped him keep the title for almost 10 years, a feat that few could match. The reign of supremacy. Benny Leonard was the clear monarch of the lightweight class from 1917 until 1925. He defended his championship an astounding number of times throughout his reign, and some thought he was one of the most dangerous fighters of his time. Leonard's fights became big spectacles that drew enormous crowds and famous opponents. One of his most famous wins was his defense against Lou Tendler in 1923. Leonard's bout in front of 58,000 people at Yankee Stadium is still one of his most famous. Leonard showed amazing ring savvy by controlling the fight's tempo with his speed and precision jabs. He was the best in the ring, beating elite fighters from all over the world again and again. He was very good at dodging punches while landing his own with lethal accuracy. Many people thought Leonard was the best pound-for-pound boxer in the world at the height of his career. The well-known face and the business side. Benny Leonard became a big star as his fame expanded. Fans loved him because he looked good and was a great boxer. He was one of the first boxers to exploit his fame to make money in business. Leonard was one of the highest-paid athletes of his day because he acted in movies, was on magazine covers, and promoted products. His battles were no longer just games. They were enormous events that drew huge crowds. Leonard was more than just a boxer. He was a cultural icon who went beyond the sport. He made a lot of money, especially in the 1920s. He made tens of thousands of dollars per bout, which was a lot of money at the time. Both the public and other athletes admired him for it. His fame also helped break down racial barriers in boxing since he became a hero for many people, including those who were less fortunate. The first retirement and big money gains. Benny Leonard shocked everyone in 1925 when he decided to stop boxing while he was still at the peak of his career. He made this choice because he wanted to spend more time with his family, especially his sick mother, who had always been against his fighting career. Leonard's choice to quit at the peak of his powers shocked the boxing world, but it also gave him a chance to make a lot of money. The crash and comeback. Benny Leonard was impacted badly by the Great Depression of 1929. Many of his friends were also hurt by the stock market fall, but Leonard was especially hurt since he had put a lot of his money into stocks and real estate. He had lost practically everything by the early 1930s. Even though he lost all his money, he didn't stay down for long. Leonard chose to return to the boxing ring in 1931. Leonard's comeback wasn't as successful as his first reign, but he was still able to show flashes of his old glory. He won a few battles, but it was evident that his finest days were behind him. It wasn't just about getting back the money he had lost. It was about the love of boxing that had shaped his whole life. Sadly, Leonard's career came to an end in 1932 when Jimmy McLarnin knocked him out in 6 rounds. The comeback was a bittersweet time, but it showed how strong Leonard was and how much he loved the sport. History and rankings. Benny Leonard's legacy still has an effect on boxing today. People still talk about him as one of the best lightweights to ever step into the ring. His tenure as champion is still one of the most outstanding in boxing history. Leonard was put into the International Boxing Hall of Fame, which made sure he would always be remembered as one of the best boxers of all time. In 1997, the Sporting News dubbed him Best Boxer of the Last 75 Years, which shows how much he changed the sport for the better. Boxers today still look to Leonard's record, his smartness in the ring, and his ability to get beyond problems as examples. Benny Leonard's life is one of triumph, tragedy, and lasting influence. He is a true legend in every way. Benny Leonard's tale shows how important it is to keep going, work hard, and have a good heart. He started off poor in New York's Lower East Side and became very famous in boxing. His life was full of highs and lows, including the ecstasy of winning and the pain of losing. Please subscribe, like, and leave a comment below if you liked this in-depth look at Benny Leonard's life. Tell us which boxing legend's story you want to hear next.